All right, my friends, welcome to episode 134 of Prof and Dev Play Games. I am the Professor Larry at Prof Plays Games on Twitter, and over there is Anthony the Dev at SummerSpeak on Twitter. Man, how are you?
I am exhausted, but okay.
Yeah. Exhausted from kids or work?
Kids and work, and I went to the two craziest places today. I went to Costco and IKEA.
Oh, boy.
With kids.
Wow. No.
On a Sunday.
No.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
it's
that sounds
exhausting.
Like a mistake.
You had to do it. It needed to be done. We survived. No. Marriage survived. Family survived. So.
Thank God. Would you end up getting at IKEA?
New coffee table. We've been wanting for a long time. And I got a desk lamp for myself because I wanted a desk lamp on my upstairs desk. And what else? A couple miscellaneous shelves and smaller things to just that. And then Costco as well, just a pile of food. So, yeah, I survived. Family survived, so...
Thank God.
It is exhausting, though. I think we were all coming back, driving back, and you could just tell that we were all just kind of shell-shocked.
Even the kids?
Yeah, even the kids were like, oh...
Yeah, we're not quite there yet. Definitely the Costco trips are exhausting to the point where my wife refuses to go, so it's just me and the kid. I don't mind staying in lines and whatever else, and I can usually go during the week. Yeah. But this week, I've had a pinched nerve in about the last week and a half, and it's gotten really intense the last 5 or 6 days. So I've been in a dark hole, sleeping an hour a night, just out of it, and just a fucking asshole. Like, I have been a terrible person to be around because of how intense this pain has been. So I hope I'm coming out of it, but I re-injured it today and it hurts again. So I don't know what's going to happen. It's just, I have to pick up the kid. So it's just, there's no way around it. So I don't know how this is going to work moving forward because she's getting bigger, and I think having kids is a young man's game, seems like. So I don't know, man.
But I don't want kids young. I mean,
no,
I wasn't terribly. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't want this responsibility when I'm young. I was not prepared for it mentally.
No, and we had lots of stuff to do. We had a very good life, and we still do. It's just, and now I'm sore.
Yeah.
But this is not the IKEA or parenting podcast. No. This is talking about games. This week we're going to talk a little bit about some presentation that came out of GDC from the Steam Spy guy. Talk about some of those numbers. Talk a little bit about PAX East. There is one piece of news that got my interest. Talk a little bit about what we're playing, and then that's it. This week we're not going to talk about Chrono Trigger because I can't hold a controller. I can't hold a 3DS. It gives me intense pain to have any sort of fine motion with my left hand. So I haven't played a single second of any game that requires a controller.
That's just miserable.
It's misery.
I don't know what I would actually do in that case ever.
Well, my wife came home and she found me in a ball on the floor crying. So probably that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a pretty shitty week. But anyway,
holy crap.
This news about the Steam Spy speech basically from GDC you found. So why don't you give us a run?
So this is by Sergey Galyonkin, who is the owner and runner of SteamSpy.com. For people who don't know, SteamSpy.com uses Steam's publicly available data and they just kind of poll users, enough users to extrapolate values out of, like, number of games owned by people, number of users on Steam, concurrent users, a whole bunch of data that is relatively correct. I mean, developers have come out and said, they get pretty close sometimes. It's harder for games that are like under 30,000 sales. Things can swing wildly, and I've seen that personally, what their numbers say and what I've seen on actually knowing what sales numbers are.
Right.
But generally their plus or minus is still, it's in the ballpark. So you can take a lot of this data as meaningful. So every year at GDC for the last number of years, he has given a presentation on the state of Steam. And this year he did it again, and it had some honestly depressing figures in it. Some bright spots, but if you are an indie going direct for PC, good luck. That's all I have to say. You have the deck is stacked against you right now. So, getting into... But if you're Valve, oh my god, you're just rolling in money.
You're making tons of money, yep.
Yep. So he estimates that Valve made $4.3 billion in 2017. They made $3.5 billion in 2016. And those numbers exclude DLCs and microtransactions or any in-app purchases, because he can't track those. He can only track the base game.
I wonder how much of that gain is attributable just to PUBG.
Probably significant.
Yeah.
I mean, PUBG did sell like 27 million copies or something last year.
At $30 a pop, that's not insignificant.
So, I mean, it definitely has been like one of the big drivers for growth on Steam and revenue. And he calls it out. And like a lot of his stats, he'll do. And let's remove PUBG from the equation because it just skews everything.
Right, such a juggernaut.
Juggernaut there. And Steam had 63 million new users join in 2017 of the 291 million total. So 22% of their total users joined in 2017. That is ridiculous.
For me, when I think about that, I think like the ceiling for growth I thought had been hit because I thought everyone knew about Steam, but then I think about the international market, and that seems to be where the growth is.
And the growth is in China and Southeast Asia specifically, because it had already really started growing in like Europe and Eastern Europe really well over the past like 3 or 4 years. Like that market is very mature, and like whenever you're making certain types of games and genres, especially strategy and like Western role-playing, it is really useful to actually translate and get translation done for Russian.
Like Russian, Ukrainian.
And Ukrainian,
Czech, yeah.
Yep,
like that.
though they sell really well there. Like it is a noticeable bump. But this year, the growth has really come from China. And for whatever reason, China was the big driver of PUBG. I don't know why PUBG is the thing that caught the Chinese video game player, but it did.
Right. Dang, I was going to ask you why. Now
I don't know. I really don't know what it is. Like, why that FPS is the one.
I wonder if it's because of the marketplace where you can, a lot of the cheaters are coming from that area of the world, and then they were able to get, I don't quite understand the economy of PUBG, but you can buy like jackets and things or whatever in game that you can then flip for money apparently. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
I don't know. So yeah, I don't know why China has been such a big growth part for them, but clearly this worked and they got in. Now Valve has a really strong stake in the Asian market.
Right.
Which is they've been trying to get for a long time. I mean, I know Dota 2 was kind of a play to that. They really wanted that Asian market using Dota. And they got some of it, but not PUBG levels. Not like this. What else? The numbers here for Valve retention is really strong. So when he gave this talk, 57 million of those 291 million users were active in the past 2 weeks. With 31% of those active users joining in 2017. So, people are hanging out. Retention has been going down a little bit, but there's also been the surge of number of players. But that's just the problem, because for people that bought, who joined in 2017, their average number of games per user, 1.
That's the scariest thing there for me, is that if you look at this chart, like back in 2003, it was 15 games per user, the median, and now it's 1.
People join Steam by 1 game. I bet it's PUBG.
Right. And then
do they buy more eventually? I don't know. They're there, and like that could be the bright spot. You now have a bigger user base. They will, every time they launch Steam, will at least be presented with the option to buy more games. And maybe they will.
But if they're coming in just for PUBG, if they see like an ad for like Into the Breach or something like that, they're probably not interested.
Yeah. I would say that it's going to be hard to convert those users, but they are there.
There's a chance.
Yes.
Yeah.
But still, like if you're an indie person, you're like, this is where
Right.
you go, shit.
What's
How do we do this? How do you get these people that only come here to buy one game to look to buy another game?
That's the question I had for you as an indie developer, and I assume the PC market is a big part of where you're going next. If it's to put your game onto Steam, does this give you pause? Does this make you think maybe we should move?
It definitely gives you pause. Like, it depends. Yeah, console markets, it goes more in a don't. If you don't have to use Steam, don't use Steam. Maybe you do your own platform. You make your own. If you're doing like a multiplayer game or anything like that, you don't use Steam as the back end. Sure, you might have it on Steam where people can download it and play it through there, like Duelist and other games, multiplayer games like that, but that's not the main way that you get users. It's just, you're there, so if people want to play it there. But this would give me pause on launching any game, because beyond that, there are almost 21.5 thousand games on Steam now. So there's that. And over 7.5 were released last year.
Well, and it's the issue about how it's no longer fighting over gamers' dollars. It's fighting over their time. There's so much to play, plus so much to watch on Netflix, listen to on Spotify, whatever. Yeah. You're fighting all those media channels. Like, how much time do people have to devote to games?
There are 641 games released every month on average on Steam.
That's insane.
641. I couldn't tell you probably more than a dozen for the entire year off the top of my head, because how do you surface that many games? Even on Valve's standpoint, how do you even show people these games?
That's impossible. I feel like the way that games have surfaced for me on Steam is basically podcasts, listening to people buzz about particular games coming out. For example,
streamers are huge.
Streamers, But the FTL guys, they have such a pedigree with FTL that everyone was looking at Into the Breach, and that's the only reason that ever got on my radar. I still haven't purchased it yet, but I know I'm going to buy it by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So that's.
But, you can't. Most new people wouldn't have that pedigree.
So, yeah, exactly. And Steam wasn't even doing that. That was a podcast outside of Steam, or Valve.
I would actually myself and stuff I've been watching for a long time on this is one, at 640-ish games are released a month. Actually a number of those are actually probably very good games. But that shows being a good game, you need to be a good game to have some legs. But a good game doesn't get you sold anymore. How are you going to get marketed so that people even know that you're there? And don't think that Valve or Steam is going to do that for you. Because they won't at all. They can't. There's just so many games. Unless you're a big publisher or already have buzz coming into it, they'll feature you if you have buzz coming into it. But they aren't going to find your game and say, oh, we'll feature this unknown game on the front page. Yeah.
Right.
No, good luck.
You got users who follow curators, I think of Rock Paper Shotgun. I think that's what it is, where they're the ones looking for crazy indie games that they want to surface, and it's the work of those. But I will
actually tell you, curators don't really move the needle.
Okay.
Because the actual curation system isn't really shown to users that well.
That's true.
So it's unfortunate, but the idea behind curators was great. It just, the execution didn't follow through. So it's great when things get curated and people give it a thumbs up, but even whenever I was doing Space Tyrant, curators didn't really shift the needle. The one thing that shifted the needle very noticeably was streamers. When we got on a very popular streamer, we saw the needle move a lot.
For Space Tyrant?
Yeah, for Space Tyrant.
Okay. That's cool.
But it was what I learned was it doesn't matter if you get an article on Kotaku or Rock Paper Shotgun or any of these other things. The thing that moved the needle was a streamer with an audience.
And that makes sense why that is so lucrative. Ninja's making $500,000 a month, or I forget exactly what it is.
Yeah, no, that is totally a thing where that's how you make money now, it seems, and you get in with popular streamers, and hopefully they will help you market your game.
Right. There's another part of this that stuck out to me. The Steam Spy speech, the graphs that we're looking at, and it was the one that overall, per indie game, the median number of users who had any indie game was about 5,000. And then when they narrowed that down to just 2017, the median number of users who had any indie game was 1,500.
Yep.
So if you're looking at that as your, maybe as a ceiling.
You sell 1,500 copies, good luck. You're not making a living off that.
That's exactly right.
This is a hobby at that point. You can't. Like, I have always said that to be successful on Steam, let's say you're selling your game at $20, to be successful, to make a business, truly, you would want to sell 50,000 copies.
Right. And that's not even, like, at the height of it, it was 5,000,
Yeah. On average. And those were the ones I wouldn't consider successes. Like,
right.
You would look at your bigger games and be like, okay, how do I, and going into it, think on like, how would I sell 50,000 copies? What would I have to do that? Which you're like, that when you talk about 50,000 copies, you're like, that's nothing compared to AAAs selling like 5 million or more. But selling 50,000 copies is really hard.
I guess you'd hope that you would diversify your platforms. Like, if you're an indie game, like you should be coming out on Switch and PS4 as quickly as possible.
Yeah, you want to expand it because hopefully one of those will catch on, which was the old PopCap way of doing things. When PopCap was making PC games and everything, it would be launch on PC because that's the easiest and has the least amount of barriers.
Right.
But then put it on pretty much anywhere else you can think of. Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, whatever Nintendo console. Like, there was stuff on DS and 3DS, and of course stuff on iPads and iPhones and Android. And it's just like, keep the game rolling onto all these different platforms. One of them will probably sell pretty well. And it worked. It worked really well. It made pretty much all the games at least profitable in some way. So it was, and I think now even more than then, you pretty much have to do it because these markets are just getting flooded. And I feel like people going to Switch now, that market's going to get flooded very soon.
It already. You look every Thursday, like there's just 20 games, and you've heard of 3. And I don't think Nintendo does a good job of surfacing games either.
No.
But at least it's like, as opposed to PlayStation, like it's every Thursday. Here are the new games. Versus PlayStation is just like, they just get dumped into the black hole.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to find. Go on to PlayStation Network and say, show me all the new games in the last 2 weeks or whatever. You can't do that. Versus Switch, it's a lot easier to do that.
One thing that this does show, because it breaks down like price points. And they go like by owners by price, and like the $9.99 seems to be like the best on the distribution there. But when you go to revenue, let's go with this thing of taking PUBG out. The $19.99 price is what gets a developer the best revenue.
That makes sense, because if it's $9.99, for example, they're not. If they sell quite a bit, they're not going to make as much as they would have at $19.99. They might not sell. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if SteamWorld Dig 2, for example, people want to buy that game. If it's $19.99 or $9.99, people who want to buy it are going to buy it no matter which price point it is. So it's better to go $19.99.
You're not going to get more than, usually you will not get more than twice the sales at $9.99.
Right.
So $20, and I feel this has always been a thing. I feel like there's a perception where the $20 price point falls into like a higher production value. Like, that there will be a higher quality than like a $10 game.
Right.
There's just different brackets that people just kind of assume that. Of course, there's the $60 game, the AAA. But then you see like this weird 10, 20, 30 split kind of what people expect at those different prices. So it doesn't surprise me. Like, $20 is where I'm like, if I spend $20 on a game, I expect I'll get a decently higher quality game than a $10 game.
Right. Yeah, like a lot of the indie games that have been coming out, Oxenfree, SteamWorld Dig 2, I'm trying to think of others I can't right now, but they're all Night in the Woods, things like that. There is a level of polish and quality there that is kind of uniform across those titles. Yep.
And I think I enjoy it, like that the market is kind of settling on that a bit.
Right.
It's nice there. Even though there's a point here where he's saying that like the average price someone's paying for a game keeps going down.
Right. Yeah, went from like $3.99 to $2.99.
Yeah, kills me so much.
Well, is that because people are waiting for the sales?
And then other people are just undercutting each other. They're like, well, let's make our game cheaper than everyone else's game, kind of thing.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's the race to the bottom. You've seen it on the iOS App Store. We saw it in casual games, PC games back at PodCap. Like,
well, is it Amazon got too? You know?
Yeah, everywhere. Like, it's a race to the bottom, and you're like, because whenever like iOS games first came out, you could sell an iOS game for like $10. And then it gradually went to $5 for a premium game. And then it was 99 cents. And it's like, how are you going to even make any money on a 99 cents game? Like,
right.
Not the type of games PodCat made. Like, that was impossible. You're like, we're never going to sell that much.
They're saying like the install base for the iOS is so huge that 20 million people, 99 cents. Like, yeah, but they're not all buying that game. No,
they're not. You're not even getting a million. Good luck.
Well, you look at Nintendo with Super Mario Run. Like, that was a great game. $9.99. Yep. People were like, nope.
No, and I mean, the bottom was already gone at that point. Like,
yeah, right.
I mean, when that came out, everyone was now shifted to, why would I even pay money to buy a game? I'll just get a free one, and I'll give them money if I want to. So, like, that market's already gone, for the most part. Like,
right.
So, and I feel like Steam is kind of going that same way, in a lot of ways, when people are just destroying the bottom of the market, and I can at least am happy that people that use Steam tend to have more knowledge about games.
Yeah. So
there is an audience there that will give $10, $20 or more for games. They're even set on knowing like AAA is $60. You know that, and you're okay with that, and you do $60 there. So when you get something for $20, that's not horrible. Like, that still feels good, and you get a good game out of it. So I feel like even perceptions are broader on the PC market.
And I feel like surfacing, as much as Valve doesn't do in that area, users on Steam who are interested in a specific genre or whatever are pretty good at using the tags to surface games that they in a genre that they're interested in.
Yes.
Like, I'll go in there and I'll look through the visual novel tag to see if anything's new that's interesting that catches my eye.
Oh, you mean all the porn games?
There unfortunately are a lot of fucking porn games. Yeah.
Jesus.
That's just unreal how many there are. But I guess they're making some money for them.
I'm sure they're super cheap to make, and they just flip them.
Right.
There is a market for that is the unfortunate thing where when Steam killed Greenlight and they went to this direct and you can pay $100 to put a game on Steam.
Right.
Well, $100 for, I think we've talked about this probably years ago, is that when you're coming from Southeast Asia, or China, or Eastern Europe, it's pretty easy to flip a game for $100 and make some profit on that.
Right.
Just sell like, okay, it's $10 and I hope to sell 1,000 copies. Sweet. And it's just like, fine. How many of those can I get out? How quickly can I put those out?
Exactly.
And now I get I am now making good money for the part of the world I'm living in.
Well, especially if you're making the games that have a bunch of trading cards where the users can flip those for money on the market too. Like, I've made, I think, like $8-9 recently on just flipping trading cards. Like, I just had a bunch of trading cards that I never knew what the hell to do with those things. And finally I realized that I could put them on the market and sell them. And I just got enough to buy, a game on sale pretty much. It's crazy. Yeah.
So there's a lot of games that hit Steam that are just those. That are just as quickly as we get these out as quickly as we possibly can to make a buck.
Right.
And those don't usually get surfaced, so that's good.
Well, and I wonder, in terms of the amount of games that are coming out on Steam, if you took away those type of games, like, would the number be more reasonable, or there are still just a ton of, like...
I think there's still a ton of games, but it would bring it closer to reasonable, for sure.
Right.
But I still think there's just a lot of games hitting Steam.
Yeah, right.
So... I don't know what's going to be happening in the next year on Steam. Like, Valve's, of course, raking in more money than they ever have. Ever. Just ridiculous amounts of money. AAA is here to stay. That's not going to go anywhere.
Right. I feel like when Valve looks at that, they say, well, it's not broken. Everything's good.
We made $4.3 billion. Why do we care?
Right.
And there's no one competing really hard with them right now. So
I guess Twitch is trying.
Twitch and Amazon definitely are. And Amazon's really working to make Twitch their like entire storefront for games, digital games. I mean, I got 5 more free games.
Yeah,
for having Prime. I'm okay.
Including SteamWorld Dig 2, which just recently came out and is fucking killer. Like, you should have bought that game because you're gonna love it.
And now I don't have to buy it.
I know. I know they got money. I'm sure that Image and Form got a nice payday from Amazon for that, but Jesus.
Yes. But yeah, I do feel like Amazon is poised to like at least challenge at this point.
Right. Well,
because of the Twitch audience. Like,
right.
So we got that. You have Good Old Games and their launcher. Like, I feel like they're always like the number 2 or number 3 digital storefront, depending on if they're ahead of Amazon or not. But I know you tend to get reasonable sales and returns off of Good Old Games as a developer. Like,
I see.
They would be about 10. This is a few years ago. There was about 10% of Steam sales of whatever you sold on Steam you could sell on Good Old Games. So, which shows you the power of Steam. But 10% was the highest at that point.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, they'll try, I think. They have their own launcher and everything, their own built-in. But EA had Origin. I just don't think that's going anywhere. No one wants to use that thing. No one really wants to use anything by EA. So,
although they did give away Dead Space a couple months ago, so I logged in and grabbed that.
They always give away things.
Trying to get you to open the damn thing.
Activision has Battle.net. I mean, they put Destiny 2 for the PC on there. I'm expecting they'll put more games on there at some point. Like, that was a test. Yeah. I just think they'll just start building Battle.net up as their storefront. So we'll see.
Why give a percentage to Valve when you can just do it on your own launcher?
Exactly. So yeah, I think... But in the short term, like next year, no. I think Steam still destroys everything, and we'll see if all these new inroads in China actually like buy another game. Like, it'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see this chart next year if like the median game per user is more than 1, because it's been 1 for the last 2 years. So that's just depressing. Something that's not depressing and seemed like an April Fool's joke. News out of PAX East. The one thing I heard this weekend, Heroes of the Storm, which is a game I've touched rarely because I'm not big into MOBAs, but I like the Blizzard characters. They're intermingling. They're adding a new character. It is Deckard Cain. And the way that he plays seems like a joke. Like one of his moves is to drop healing potions. Okay. Another move is called Stay a While and Listen, where he opens a book and reads a story to you, and people fall asleep. Another one's a Herodric Cube, which hurts people, and another one is Lore Nado, which all of his books fan out in front of him in a tornado and drop damage on people.
That is the most ridiculous thing ever.
It looks like an April Fool's joke, but it's real. He's basically a buff debuff character, and it's just Deckard Cain cruising with like Zenyatta, or not Zenyatta, what's her name? Zarya, maybe? Tracer and freaking whoever else is in that game. I don't even know. The Lost Vikings or whatever. So it's just I don't know. I know it's free to play game.
Yep.
I'll probably load that back up just to check out Deckard Cain, because that just seems so fucking off the wall that it would be fun to play.
That pretty much sums up that game. It is a pretty off-the-wall game. They've really just gone down the rabbit hole of being like, let's just be absurd. Like, even more than, like, Hearthstone.
I mean, why not? Like, it's almost like free money at that point. Like, I know it costs money to develop the thing, of course, but they're making so much money elsewhere in the company that, speaking of Blizzard, I wanted your advice. A couple of weeks ago, I went and visited Blizzard and got a nice gifts from my friend about buying some games on the store. Got $80 left. I'm debating between buying the new expansion for Hearthstone, the $50 for the 50, actually 70 packs, because you get 20 bonus packs.
Okay.
Or buying World of Warcraft when it comes out, the new one.
For you right now in your life, Hearthstone.
Yeah.
You won't get time to play WoW.
Yeah. So the only thing about WoW is that
you've got years before you'll have time to actually play WoW.
So I'm wondering, the question is, obviously I won't be able to play WoW like people do. but my mom plays, and to come on every once in a while and play with her, is that something that I could even do in WoW?
No, not really.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Okay, Hearthstone it is then.
Not in that way. I mean, you could probably hop in and say hi.
Right.
And she might be able to like run through you like low level stuff if she wanted to, but you would never get to participate in the high level stuff.
Right. Okay.
And I'm sure she has her raids and her schedule.
She sure does. Sure does. Okay, well, I'll just chat whisper with her while I'm playing Hearthstone then.
There you go. And get Hearthstone, and then I mean even that you'll still have $30 left over to just hold for. That's true. You know, whatever comes up next. I don't even know.
Diablo 3 for Switch, but I can't use that.
I don't know if I wouldn't. I wonder if they would sell Switch codes.
Oh, maybe
through their store.
Profit of it, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Nintendo lets people do that.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
This kind of leads right into what I'm playing, because we're going to skip Chrono Trigger because
the pain game is what you're playing? All pain, all the time?
But I was able to play, my iPad Pro came this week, and I haven't got much time with it, unfortunately, because it hurts to hold it even. But I propped it up on a pillow and used one hand to play some Hearthstone. Man, it's awesome to play Hearthstone on a tablet. I've never done that. I've only played on my phone or on the computer. So playing on the tablet is like definitely the way to go.
It's really good on the tablet.
Oh my god,
really good
and awesome. I played probably like 15 games this week. A lot of the dungeon run stuff, which I'm realizing more and more is kind of like kind of like a roguelike where you're picking up new cards and building your deck, and then once you die, you go back to zero and start over again.
Yep, and you don't have to have a huge collection of cards or anything because it doesn't use your collection. It's just play and play some games.
Yep, it's super fun. And I got to like the 5th boss and got my ass kicked.
That's where I've been. 5 is where I've been stomped constantly. So
right.
I need to get better with my card combos.
Me too. I've kind of haven't been thinking too strategically, just kind of having fun. But now I'm realizing, I kind of want to get into this more and actually be a little better at what I'm doing here. So
that's cool.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing this week, and that's the only thing I've been playing this week.
So I pushed a little bit farther in Chrono Trigger, but when you told me you couldn't really play, I stopped. So we'll hold on there. And then I've done the same game.
Jesus Christ. I keep waiting for you to say
I'm at 146 hours in now, 147.
Did you finish that last final
I did.
Thing?
Took 5 attempts. Tempered Kieran. Me and my 2 friends, we finally did it, and it felt so good.
Were you cheering when you took him down?
Oh yeah, it felt really good. That was a lot of fun. And we did it flawlessly. No one fainted the entire thing. We executed. It was great. We took our time. That was the key part. Is just that battle is. It's like this unicorn-looking thing. It's so weird, but it's small and it moves around a lot, and it's really easy to feel like you want to get super aggressive on it. But it shoots lightning. Lightning bolts come down and it does it around it, and it does patterns on the ground. And it's if you overextend yourself on that fight, you just die. Especially on this tempered version, which is the super hard version, you will just get one shot. So it was totally a thing of just learning to be okay, play very conservatively. All right, it just did this move. Okay, we can go in. We all can get a couple hits off. Now get out, run around,
right.
Avoid things. Okay, it's doing this. Get in, do it. Once we trained ourselves to be a little bit more conservative again, it all clicked into place. It was great. And then Friday night, was it Friday night or was it last night? Can't remember. One of the nights I finally got the last mechanic in the game. I can augment my armor and my weapons now.
And augment means adding new attributes or
color?
Or
okay. So for armor, nothing. Armor is it unlocks it so you can do another, depending on the piece of armor, 6 to 8 upgrades on it. So it just increases its defense. It just unlocks it so you can increase it higher, beyond its top end. But weapons, you can get, depending on their rarity, weirdly it's reversed. The lower rarity gets more augment slots. But this is something that the game tends to do where, there's top ends are 6, 7, and 8. 8, rarity 8 gets 1 slot. 7 gets 2 augment slots. 6 gets 3 augment slots. basically bringing them somewhat into parity at the end game if you do it right. This game does a lot of that so that like lower end stuff is actually good in certain situations. So that's been nice, but yep.
That's nice that you can still use your lower
and you're expected to. Because it's like, oh, my lower end, my like rarity 6 thing is my water weapon. And this monster is weak to water, but my high-end water is rarity 6. But I can augment it now. If I have the right materials, I can augment it 3 times to have, like, when I hit, I get life back. It has a higher crit chance. It gets another gem slot that I can put it in. There's like 5 or 6 different things you can slot in. So it's a great system, and I'm not done playing the game. I absolutely love this game. The Spring Festival is going on right now. So it's 2 weeks. It's a 2-week event. Yeah, timed event. All the event quests, previous event quests that were available since the game released are back. So I can get my my Watcher Palico, my Horizon Palico gear, so I can run around as Aloy with a little Watcher by my side now, if I want to. There's the Ryu skin. I can get that now again.
It's nice that I gotta go back into. Oh, thank you. Oh God, how am I gonna do it? I can't use my hand. I need one more piece to get my dragon fucking armor shit for Ken and Street Fighter.
There you go.
Oh no.
Figure it out. Have your wife play.
Oh God, I'd
just tell her, just like, okay.
Here's what you do. Here's how you do a Shoryuken. Here's how you do Tatatsuduke, whatever the hell that fucking spinning hurricane kick is.
So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff available, and like some new cosmetics and a couple other just event quests for the Spring Festival and the whole. It's nice. It's an MMO. God, this game is just an MMO. Right. And I assume they're going to have more events as the year goes on. So this is the spring one.
I'm playing.
Yeah, and they have good content when it happens. So I'm sure there's more monsters. I think they've only used scratch the surface here, maybe a quarter of the total monsters that they have from all the games that they have in this game. So I expect that they're going to just have a nice trickle. They showed at GDC, finally got to see the talk that the team gave there on Monster Hunter, and their initial even demo video, demo pitch of it, it's really polished, had a monster, really well looking modeled monster that's not in this game right now. I was like, okay, is that gonna show up at some point? I don't see it. You've made the content, so why wouldn't it?
I'm still trying to figure out how they're gonna monetize that stuff, because I know a lot of the DLC is gonna be free.
They aren't. They monetize it just by, selling copies of the game. And they do have DLC, monetization. It's gestures and dances and things like that. It's all cosmetic.
Oh, so that is in there.
It is in there, but
okay.
It has nothing to do with gameplay. So
right, which is what that shit should be.
Yeah.
Just cosmetic.
And I'll say I'm kind of tempted. I'm like, I should throw a couple bucks at them. There's some really great dance moves. The animations are just really smooth and good. And you're like, wow, that's really good quality. Oh, why not? I'll give you a couple bucks and get a dance.
Capcom, good job.
Yeah, no, I feel like this is probably why this series has just slowly gained popularity in some ways, and people respect it. And they're like, oh, you're not trying to screw us out of any. You're just buy the game and you get quality. Right. And now I know I'm this market now, they've sold 7.5, 8 million copies of this one. When they do Monster Hunter World 2, I'm pretty sure a lot of these players are just going to buy that game too.
Well,
I will, because I'll be like, sure,
because of how good this one was.
Good, and how much you've supported it and given. Right. I'm I will buy another one. Why not?
I just keep waiting for the first major sale on this game, because I don't think there has been one yet.
Nope.
Besides, there was an Amazon deal for one day that was $44. But when it gets to $35 and people are I heard a lot about it, that's probably a good price point for them to jump in on. I would love to see the sales of this game at the end of the year. I think
it's probably going to top 10.
Yeah,
probably is my thought by the end of the year.
And I don't think anyone would have guessed that at the beginning of the year.
No. So yeah, I mean, but it's taking all my time. This is the game I'm playing, and I don't really want to play another game.
You've been playing this game you've had it for 2 months now, haven't you?
I think so, and I feel bad. I'm like, I should talk about other games, but all I want to do is play this game, and I don't really want to buy another game. This is giving me everything I want right now.
This is the year of Chrono Trigger and Monster Hunter World on our podcast.
I guess so.
We'll have the top 2 games of the year at the end of the year. This will be it.
That's it. I said by the end of the year, I hope to play God of War when it comes out. I saw the stuff on Spider-Man. It looks really good. I really want to play that.
Awesome. I don't care about Spider-Man as a character, and I've been trying to figure out why. And I realized that as a kid, my brother and I each had a subscription to a comic, and I had Captain America, and my brother had Spider-Man. And I was like, "Nope, I hate Spider-Man." So I never gave a fuck about Spider-Man.
This is the root of all the things you love and hate.
It is. It's the reason why I like the Giants, why I like the 49ers. When I listen to football, that's exactly the reason why. So,
why you like Luigi?
Why I like Luigi? Yep.
Man.
I like ketchup because my brother liked mustard. Fucking everything, man. Blue, I like blue because he liked red.
Oh.
Yep, it goes pretty fucking man.
Okay.
I'm happy to report that I don't mind mustard now. So
break the cycle.
Yeah, I have. I hate red still though, but that's because I'm a redhead, so I look terrible in red. But oh well. So this has been episode 134 of Prof and Dev Play Games. We are trucking along with Monster Hunter World, a little bit of Hearthstone, and not a lot of news, but we got some stuff going on. Yeah. And next week we will. I don't know what's happening this week.
No, we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out, and we'll bring it to you next week. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Night all.